Hi everybody, how's it going? It's Football Heaven 24/7. I'm your host Jamie. I'm back again. Just going to do a review of the weekend's action from the 4th of the 5th, and of all the games that went on. Premier League through to League Two as usual. Jump straight into the Premier League. First game of the weekend. It was actually on Friday the 3rd of February 2023. It was a local derby between Chelsea and Fulham. There's only 1.3 miles between the two clubs. Fulham having a fantastic season. Fulham actually higher in the league than Chelsea at the moment, one place ahead of them. Fulham are in at 8th and Chelsea are in 9th. They played out a pretty drab 0-0 draw. Enzo Fernandez made his debut for Chelsea, the £105 million signing from Benfica. Obviously, the World Cup winner as well with Argentina. But the game finished 0-0. Not a great result, really, for either team. Although Fulham do end up staying in a good position and having a great season, well, compared to what people thought. A lot of people thought Fulham would get relegated this year. But they've been absolutely outstanding after 22 games. They're lying in 8th position, as I say. Chelsea in 9th. They're having a bit of a poor start. Well, poor first half to the season. Coming into the second half now. Will they be able to get up into the Champions League spots? It's not looking like it will do. Yesterday, Tottenham pulled off a bit of, not really much of a shock because they've beaten Manchester City every time they played them in their new stadium over the last few seasons. They got another 1-0 victory against Manchester City Tottenham yesterday on the Sunday. And that kept Tottenham only 1 point behind Newcastle, who were in 4th. Easily got a chance of getting into the Champions League. I did say when I did my last episode, talking about the mid-season and what I thought teams had done, I said that I thought that Tottenham would pip Newcastle to that last Champions League place. Also, Manchester United having beaten Crystal Palace 2-1, thanks to goals from Fernandes and Rashford. That put them within 3 points of Manchester City after Manchester City lost. Arsenal lost against Everton, who went out of the relegation zone. They lost 1-0 at Everton. Everton were outside the relegation zone, but a draw later on in the day for West Ham at Newcastle, drawing 1-1 at Newcastle, meant that Everton dropped back into the relegation zone. So, other great wins at the weekend. Wolves absolutely smashed Liverpool 3-0 at home. An own goal from Matip, a goal from Dawson, their new signing, and a goal from Neves give them a 3-0 win and moved them away from the relegation zone, 2 points away. My team, Forest, had a hard-earned victory against Leeds. If it hadn't been for Keylor Navas on his debut for Forest, coming from PSG, Forest probably would have lost that match because Leeds had a lot of chances to score in the first half. Navas actually pulled off 3 really good saves. Forest won 1-0. That keeps Forest above Leicester City, and they're in Forest staying 13th, Leicester in 14th. In the relegation zone, it's Everton, Bournemouth, and Southampton. Bournemouth at the weekend lost narrowly to Brighton 1-0 thanks to a goal from Matoma, and Southampton continued their really poor season by losing 3-0 away at Brentford. Goals from Ben Mee and Buemo and Jensen gave Brentford that 3-0 victory. Aston Villa, Midlands derby against Leicester. They were 2-1 up in it. Goals from Ollie Watkins. Then there was an equaliser from Maddison. Soutar on his debut for Leicester City scored an own goal to put Aston Villa 2-1 ahead. But goals from Inacho, Tete, new signing for Leicester City, and Dennis Pratt gave Leicester a remarkable comeback to win 4-2, having been 2-1 down. So that just keeps Leicester further away from relegation zone. Forest, my team, are now 6 points away from relegation. And they have to play Fulham next in the next game. So that's going to be interesting. I'd take a draw as a Forest fan. I would take a draw at Fulham, definitely, the way that Fulham have played this season. But yeah, everything's looking good for those teams, like especially Wolves, Everton getting a good result, a positive result, and Forest and Leicester getting good results as well. So, yeah, over the weekend. So that leaves Arsenal still 5 points clear at the top of the table, even though Arsenal and Manchester City both lost, surprisingly, at the weekend to lesser teams. Well, in Arsenal's case, a lot lesser team. Just behind them, 3 points behind Manchester City and Manchester United in third with 42 points. Newcastle have got 40 points, having drawn with West Ham at home. Good point for West Ham as they pull away a little bit from the relegation zone. They're only 1 point away, but still a long time of the season to go. There's another 17 or 18 games left for a lot of teams to play in the Premier League. So lots of chances for teams to turn it around. I think Everton will get out of danger, and I think that somebody like Leeds or perhaps, looking at it, even West Ham could drop into there. Very, very tight at the bottom. We'll have to see what happens anyway. It's been a bit unfortunate for West Ham because they've had a lot of injuries. I mean, Forest have had a lot of injuries as well. But we'll have to see what happens. If certain players come back, especially for West Ham, Cornet, if he starts to turn it on, if Lingard turns it on a bit for Forest, we might see a lot of changes going on over the next few months. But it'll be interesting to see how it works out. As I say, I still think Arsenal will win the Prem, just because I think Manchester City aren't what they were the season before, even though Haaland has scored a crazy amount of goals. Top goal scorer in the Prem, obviously, is still Haaland with 25 goals. Kane scored yesterday. He actually, against Manchester City, to beat them 1-0. He actually has the record now for Tottenham of the most goals scored in the league, with 267 in all competitions, but I think it's 207 in the league. So yeah, he's the all-time top goal scorer now for Tottenham. Ivan Toney's in third with 13 goals. So that's how the Premier League looks. As I say, Arsenal at the top, relegation zone, Everton, Bournemouth and Southampton. Into the Championship, Huddersfield drew 1-1 with QPR. Goals from Lowe and Waghorn. Hull City beat Cardiff City 1-0. That keeps Cardiff only 2 points off the drop zone. Luton won 1-0 against Stoke, and that keeps them in the playoff area. Middlesbrough continue their impressive form and stay in third in the league, having smashed Blackpool 3-0, 2 goals from Trevor and 1 from McNair. Millwall drew 1-0 with Sunderland. That kept Millwall and Sunderland just outside the playoff areas. In the early kickoff in the Championship, Burnley absolutely smashed Norwich City 3-0, which halted Norwich's recent progress. And that kept Burnley top of the league. They're now 7 points clear of second place Sheffield United, and they are now 20 points. Sorry, not 20 points. It's something crazy I think they're like 18 now, 17 points clear of the third place in the table. So I think it's safe to say Burnley are definitely going back to the Premier League. Sheffield United, they're 10 points clear of Middlesbrough. I think Sheffield United will probably make it as well. But yeah, let's go down the rest of the results in the Championship. Preston lost 2-1 at home to Bristol City, so a much-needed win for Bristol City to keep them away from the relegation zone. Reading came from 2-0 behind again at home to Watford to draw 2-2. Rotherham drew 0-0 in another early kick-off on Saturday with Sheffield United. And Swansea City against Birmingham was probably the game of the day from the point of view of it was a 4-3 victory to Birmingham. In the game, Birmingham took the lead through Hogan. Pirro then equalised, the top scorer for Swansea. Then Swansea went 2-1 up through Cullen. Then it was 2-2. Chong equalised for Birmingham. Then Pirro put Swansea City back in front on the 58th minute, make it 3-2. And an equaliser on the 90th minute through, I can't even say his name, but anyway, there was an equaliser on the 90th minute. And then Trusty scored a winner for Birmingham in the 97th minute of injury time. That has got to hurt. Especially when most Swansea fans are thinking, oh, we've got 3 points here on coming up to the 90th minute. But there we go. Great victory for Birmingham. Don't do much for them. Just takes them a bit further away from the relegation zone. But yeah, West Brom also on the Friday night kickoff beat Coventry City in a sort of Midlands derby there, 1-0. Grady Dean Gardner scored for West Brom to keep up their good run. So yeah, looking at the table, Burnley's still top. Sheffield United in second. In the playoffs, it's Middlesbrough, Luton, Watford and West Bromwich Albion. At the bottom of the league, it's Huddersfield, Blackpool and Wigan Athletic, who are in the relegation places. Blackburn face Wigan tonight. If Wigan do win, pull off a shock, they will go 2 places higher in the league, but still remain in the relegation zone. So they'll go off the bottom. But my prediction for the Blackburn Wigan game, I think it'll be 2-1 to Blackburn in that game. So anyway, jumping into League One. Oh yeah, top goal scorers in the Championship. Chuba Akpom's got 16 goals for Middlesbrough. He's the top goal scorer. So off into League One. Lincoln City had a great win away at Accrington 3-0. The game of the day was between the top two. At the start of the day, Plymouth were top and Sheffield Wednesday were in second, but they played each other at Hillsborough at Sheffield Wednesday's ground in front of a massive crowd of 33,442. Sheffield Wednesday got an early goal through Callum Patterson on the 7th minute, and that gave them the 1-0 victory that they needed to leapfrog Plymouth into top of the table for the first time in the season. Plymouth have relinquished that second place, but only on goal difference. And so, yeah, Sheffield Wednesday take over at the top. Bolton beat Cheltenham 1-0. Bristol Rovers lost 2-0 against MK Dons as MK Dons moved out of the relegation zone in League One for the first time in a long time. Cambridge got a decent point at home to third place Ipswich Town, drawing 1-1. Derby County absolutely smashed Morecambe 5-0, a hat-trick from McGoldrick. Charlton Athletic won 2-1 away at Exeter City, so a good 3 points for them. Fleetwood lost 3-2 at home to Burton Albion. Peterborough won 2-0 away at Forest Green. Oxford lost 1-0 at home to Shrewsbury. Port Vale lost 3-0 at home to Wycombe Wanderers. Portsmouth drew 1-1 with Barnsley. And yeah, that's it in the league. So how the league shapes up, as I said earlier, Sheffield Wednesday are top of the league now on goal difference over Plymouth in second. In the playoff places in League One, it's Ipswich Town, Derby County, Bolton and Barnsley. And in the relegation zone, it's Morecambe, Cambridge United, Accrington Stanley and Forest Green. Jonson Clarke-Harris is still the top goal scorer. He scored at the weekend as well for Peterborough with 16 goals. Going into League Two, Bradford drew 1-0 with Mansfield. Carlisle lost 1-0 at home to Harrogate. Colchester drew 1-0 with Barrow. Grimsby got a good win, 3-0 away at Crewe Alexandra. Hartlepool got a good win to keep them outside of the relegation zone in League One, at League Two even, winning 1-0 away at Doncaster Rovers. Gillingham kept up their good recent form after having a takeover, winning 1-0 against Crawley. It wasn't enough for them to go outside of the relegation zone, as obviously, as I said earlier, Hartlepool won away at Doncaster. Leyton Orient finally scored a goal and got a win to still keep them 4 points ahead of second place Stevenage. They won 1-0 in front of a sellout crowd against AFC Wimbledon, another London rival. Newport County, in their early kick-off in League Two, they won 2-1 at home to Swindon Town to move them further away from the League Two drop zone. Salford City won 2-1 in their sort of Greater Manchester, Lancashire derby, should we just say. Won 2-1 against Rochdale. Stockport County they narrowly beat Tranmere 3-2. And Sutton United drew 0-0 with Stevenage, second place Stevenage. So, yeah, top of the table, Leyton Orient at the top by 4 points, as I say, over Stevenage. Carlisle still in third in the top three promotion places in League Two. Playoff places, it's Northampton, Salford City, Mansfield and Stockport County have just leapfrogged Swindon into that final playoff place. At the start of the season, I said that Stockport would get promoted. I said automatic promotion. Doesn't look likely that it would be automatic, but it looks like they've got a chance via the playoffs at the moment. Top goal scorer is Christian Dennis for Carlisle with 17 goals in League Two. So that's what's going down in the relegation zone. It is Gillingham and Rochdale at the bottom, although Gillingham are only a point from safety, as Crawley Town and Hartlepool are just above them with 25 points. So that's what's going on in all the football leagues. Thank you for watching. Continue to like and subscribe. Just going to keep on bringing you the content every week. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do another episode today, and that is just going to be previewing the week's fixtures ahead. But for now, have a great day and also have a great week. and whoever team you support, I hope that they get the result they need. But yeah, continue to support and get your friends and family involved. Get them to like and subscribe. All the best. Bye for now.